One Day, devised and created by Emma Rucastle. Photography by Ginny Koppenhol. Contributions and voices from Anne Banks, Patricia Barnicott, Phil Chandler, Jill Clough, Hannah Cotton, Andy Doble, Mark Evans, Elizabeth Figg, David Novell, Malik Luther Novell, Trinity Joy Novell, David Pogson, Deborah Powell, Emma Rucastle, Karen Treadwell, and Stephen Wyatt.
There is a growing chasm between one day I hope and one day there will be. I still, I think, have hope, but I'm running very short of optimism.
One day I will feel stronger.
One day, maybe, not today.
One day there will be a way to travel instantaneously. Recently, my friends and I were bemoaning the fact that decades after Star Trek, we still could not cry out, "Beam me up, Scotty," or Neelam, or Yoko, and experience the disintegration of the particles of our body in one place and the reintegration of the same in a totally different place. And all in the twinkling of an eye. None of this waiting in airports, being packed into trains, fretting through substitute bus services, and enduring hours cooped up in some too small machine in order to reach our holiday, work, family, emergency destination. And by the way, why were they always beamed up? Surely they needed to be beamed down to those planets over which the Starship Enterprise continuously hovered.
I know from daily experience that there are many beautiful people living compassionate lives, but I cannot delude myself about the scale of the hatred and brutality that abounds in this world. I cannot write all this violence off as the aberration of a misguided few. Some of this hatred runs deep and old. When I am surrounded by the brave souls out on the street confronting that hatred, I find some hope that the river of stories can carve a new course. But then I see the height of the levees they have built to hold it fixed and controlled, and I falter. Of course, we know, also from experience, that levees can be torn down by hurricanes and whole new landscapes can be formed. But before we wish for a hurricane, we must first remember that when the floodwaters come, it is the poor who have no boats.
One day I woke to the gun at the door, the men in my garden, my child on the floor. One day I wept for the life that had been, the ones that had died, and all that I'd seen. One day I paid for a place on a boat, so many crammed on it was barely afloat. One day my sleep won't end with a scream as I fight the men off in another bad dream. One day I'll wake with a smile on my face and a key in the door of my own safe place. One day, I tell you, all will be well. One day I'll escape from my own living hell.
Such are the vagaries of time that it is the less happy trips of memory that would have been the first candidates for quantum transmission. Happy, exciting mystery journeys remain in my mind as something to savor. Settling down with a good book, a bag of pretzels, and a window, I would think how wonderful it was to have this space outside time. In these cases, to misquote, it was as interesting to travel as to arrive. But how much less stressful a sudden call to a California hospital bedside would have been if we had materialized instantly. Instead, my sister and I made black jokes as we tried not to throw our imaginations forward ahead of our slow physical progress. And transporting of ashes from the USA to the UK would not have had us on tenterhooks for weeks, not quite knowing where the ashes of Cat and Mistress were, and hoping that they, unlike the luggage of my sister during her frequent flyer years, would not end up in Budapest or Tokyo. Would Scotty ever have made that mistake? No, he would have done the job in an instant for sentiment's sake, in spite of Mr. Spock's disapproval.
One day our ways will part, our threads unravel, our lives fray at the edges, yet the warp and weft will hold their shape, so we can shuttle on, a little loose in the weave.
One day, it is certain that I'll have to die. Friends and family at the creme to wish me goodbye. So their choice of music should sum up my life, that enjoyable triumph over trouble and strife. Perhaps the Beach Boys with Fun, Fun, Fun. Or maybe the Beatles singing Here Comes the Sun. Katrina's Walking on Sunshine is always worth a play. Or maybe Sinatra with I Did It My Way. But once through the curtains and into the fire, Frankie Lane's Cool Water might be my desire.
One day there'll be no more waiting.
One day we'll go around the world.
One day like this.
One day more.
One day at a time.
One day there will be singing and rejoicing in the streets.
One sweet day.
One day we will all be free.
One day over the rainbow.
One day, I do believe, with a sincere, heartfelt notion, without trouble or commotion. Surely life would be simply grand. To one day again, maybe, shake your hand.
One day, my smile will share positivity and confidence with others.
One day, maybe others will just accept me for being me.
One day we will be. We will be free in being human beings. One day we will be not you, me, they, but we. One day we will be.
One day the world will be ours. One day we will be in charge.
One day, I hope there will be optimism, but I have to believe that there will always at least be hope.